Hello family, welcome back to the channel. Dr. Ross here, coming to you from the ranch. We have a little job here to work on. This is a 1992 Suzuki Kei, and it's not running too good. This is a 1992 Suzuki Kei, and it's not running too good. The reports are that it overheats really quickly. So we maybe find a bad head gasket or something wrong with the cooling system. This is a 3-cylinder, 660cc 12 valve. That's 12, 4 valves per cylinder. I don't know, it just seems like a lot more to go wrong. But they're fairly simple and straightforward. It's carbureted model. And when I first got it running, it was really pouring a lot of gasoline out. The gasoline is pouring all over the floor down here. Let me get some light on. The gasoline is just pouring out of the carburetor onto the floor. Running really rich and rough when you can get it going. Flooding out. We got evidence of fuel coming right out of the pipe here. So first things first, got to get it to run before we can get it to overheat. So we're going to try to pull this carb and see if we can figure out why it's stuck. And I don't have a rebuild kit for the carb, but I think we could maybe take it apart and see what's going in there, see if we can get the float unstuck. So let's try to get it out.
Come here, Kevin. Come here. Want to sit on my lap? Come up here with me. You're so heavy.
Now, first of all, let's see if we can get this air box out of here. This thing just has a ton of vacuum hoses. Strangest thing. It's a breather. I'm going to pull this air box out. See what else is attached to it. A couple more vacuum lines on the bottom there. Okay. Here's a plug for what must be the idle cutoff. Multiple lines coming in here. That would be the main fuel line right there. What in the holy heck? This is a vacuum advanced line. Two more fuel lines here. I don't know why. What is going on here? Oh, look at that. There's antifreeze here. Okay, let's find out about that. Is the manifold cooled? That's very interesting. Carb's still leaking fluid. It's totally overfilled. I hope it comes off with these two bolts. It's going to make things easier. Okay, looks like there's a spacer right here for it. Can't imagine why there's antifreeze on it, but we're fixing to find out. Okay, 100 vacuum lines later. Alright, this one comes out. Save that bracket. These two bolts. Two vacuum lines off the top. Now there's still a lot more attached to the bottom, you guys. What is all this stuff? Is it coolant? I'll be damned. Got two more lines back here, plus the clear one goes underneath. I don't know why or what they're for. All right. Carburetor is free. All right, well, I'm just going to take the accelerator pump off to get it out of the way. I really only want to look in the bowl I remember a line going on there. Typically there'll just be a spring and a diaphragm on this side. Undoubtedly it comes in the rebuild kit, but we don't have that. I want to make extra sure there's not a check ball here that I could lose. Probably is a check ball in that system, I just don't know where. Okay. Now, I'm going to try to get this bowl off. Sometimes you can just take a very small hammer, just give it a small tap. Okay. Those are not wanting to turn. Good grief. Maybe never was apart. Well, like I said before, I don't have a rebuild kit for this, so hoping to save the gasket, but I've got to figure out why it's flooding. I feel like the needle or float is sticking. See what we can find out inside. It seems broken. The needle looks good. The seat is replaceable. You can take the screw out and pull the seat. So yeah, I don't see the problem other than this little spring. I don't know how that works, which is sitting in there. I decided that that spring that looked broken might go in here as a retainer and had perhaps just fallen out, keeping that little check bar in. So we're gonna go with that. See if that might be the ticket. I can adjust this float a little bit. And that might help. Make sure that it's closing. Whoa, it really jumped. Maybe not quite that much. How's that look? Does that look good to you guys? Okay. Make sure that needle is hooked on the float. Hopefully it's pushing it closed. I'm going to install the float without the needle in place. See where the float goes down to. Okay, so the float is bottoming out there, and that needs to be pushing the needle closed. We're viewing this upside down, so the float would go all the way down to there, and it needs to be pushing down on the needle. I feel like pushing down on that just a little bit to make sure that it's closing on the needle. And now I'm sure it is, because I can feel it I can feel that the needle is hitting first before the float bottoms out. Alright, my gasket seems to be in place. Can't do any more to clean it. There's a little retainer spring in there. I don't know if that's right, but feels right. All right, carburetor all put back together. GoPro battery dead, but all the vacuum lines are back on. All the coolant lines are plumbed in. And we got the air box back on. Fuel is hooked up. And we're ready to give it a try. I got the accelerator cable installed and adjusted. Okay. Cleaned up all these hoses, got all our vacuum lines where they need to be. Here's the fuel pump charge. Get rid of a couple of pumps. There you go. Cold idle is now kicked in. That's good. Not as much smoke as we had before. Check for pressure at the radiator cap. Water pump is working. Thermostat is open. Well, I'd never seen such a complicated coolant system. And after double checking the routing of all the coolant lines around the carburetor and the manifold, everything seemed to be working fine. After 2 hours, there was still no overheating. We drove it all over the property and it seemed to be working fine. So maybe there's a part 2. End result remains to be seen, but for now, seems to be running and driving great. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button for me and don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.